Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs and gigs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Florian, who is now making between $45 and $85 an hour as a copywriter. And he was doing this while he was a student in college. So he was actually making money while he was in college. And now he has so many opportunities and flexibility in what he's doing. And we're also going to talk about his business degree and if it was actually worth it and how it ties into his whole digital marketing journey. So this is going to be a very interesting interview. Thanks for being here, Florian.
Thank you, Seth. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to talk about this.
Awesome. Me too. So why don't you start out by telling people what you're doing right now? What's your current source of income?
Yeah, sure. So my current source of income is freelance copywriting. For those who don't know what that is, it's writing either emails or landing pages for companies that are meant to persuade people to either take an action or buy a product, something like that. And I'm doing that a couple hours a day right now, between 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day. And I have really good clients right now, and I'm making, like you said in the intro, one of them is paying me $45 an hour, the other is paying me 80, and I'm planning to raise my rates again soon. So it's looking like a pretty good.
That's awesome, man. You kind of cut out there. You said it's looking like a pretty good what?
Pretty good future right now for where I'm going.
Absolutely. And guys, copywriting is, again, the thing with digital marketing is there's so many different options you have once you get the initial skill sets. Florian took my course and he's going to talk about what he learned in there. But initially, you may have heard a lot of my students talk about, they got jobs in PPC, SEO, analytics. Copywriting is another area where people get, gigs or jobs. It's a very in-demand skill, and it's so different from the kind of writing that you've been taught in school. So people often ask me when they sign up for the course, hey, I'm not a great writer. And that's fine. Almost none of my students are great writers in terms of, writing essays and stuff. There's content writing, which is also very valuable now, which means like writing long articles. But what he's talking about is that copy that when you're on your Instagram feed and you see something catchy that gets your attention and makes you want to click, that's it. It's very targeted. It's a specific type of writing. And it's what people will pay $85 an hour for. Because if you can help a company get more sales with your writing ability, they will pay you $85 an hour. So getting to this point is, and you're freelancing, you're working on your own schedule while you were a college student. How did this all happen? Like, where did you start out back when you were, I believe you just graduated, right?
I did, actually. I had my ceremony last Saturday, so a couple days ago. And when, we all threw the hats, we had the gowns on and the streamers and everything.
So it's so funny because you're like the only one of your classmates that has a reason to celebrate because you actually have like a future, and your classmates are literally like, yeah, we have debt, we have no job prospects, we've learned nothing, Mark. So anyway, we'll get into that. I'm gonna stop myself from ranting. But you found the course like back when you were a freshman, right?
So I got your course in 2017, and I was passionate about online marketing. Even though
hey man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I want to.
You broke up for a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
Okay.
All right, take two. So yeah, you were saying, tell us more about how you found the course back when you were a freshman a few years ago.
Yeah, so I found the course looking on YouTube, and I think I found your channel, and you already had some testimonials, I believe. And I looked at your course and I was like, hey, this looks pretty interesting. I'm doing engineering right now, but I thought, hey, let me try this and just build another skill set and see if I like it, just try new things. That's what they always tell you, try new things. And I bought it and I went through your course, through all the modules, the SEO, PPC, all that. And I built my own website. I did everything you told us to do in the course, right? Get your own experience, run ads to your website. It was very basic. I used the Google credit And I didn't actually spend any of my own money. I just used the credit you told us to use at the time. And that's how I built up my original portfolio, just like you said.
And so then what happened? You're in school for engineering at the time, and you take the course, you take all these actions. Did you get some did you get some results? Did you get like an internship or some job opportunities or anything while you were a student?
Yeah, I actually did. So I'll tell you about it. I was doing that, going through your course for about a few weeks to a few, like a month or so. And when I was at my college, I updated my LinkedIn to what you recommended in the course. And suddenly I got a message from a business owner. I was like, oh, so I looked at my messages, and it was a guy local to my area, and he ran a construction recruiting business. And he's like, hey, I saw that you do SEO, and I'm looking for somebody to help me with my SEO. Do you mind working for me, basically? And I was like, wow. And I talked to him. We had a phone call, and I actually met him in town, and we ended up agreeing, and I got a SEO internship out of that for $15 an hour, which was pretty cool. And I worked maybe 5 hours a week at the time. So it was perfect for my schedule. And I was super excited about it.
Yeah, man, that's how it works. And you're getting paid to learn. Essentially, you're getting hands-on experience. You're getting more experience than anyone who had actually majored in marketing at that point. And then you were saying, so you're doing this. This is, again, you've heard the same story, guys. And everyone in my course has kind of a similar path. And then so you're majoring in engineering. You're a freshman. And then why don't you tell us about what happened? So again, guys, I'm telling you this story because, a lot of people write to me because you're a college student right now and you're like, hey, can I do the course while I'm in college? And you definitely can. And this is kind of an insight into what that was like for one of my students. So you're in your sophomore year. Now you take your first engineering class, right? You had never taken an actual engineering class because that's how college works. They take a whole year doing unrelated stuff to your major. You finally take an engineering course, and what was that like?
It was the most confusing and the hardest thing I ever took. And the worst part of it is I just was not interested at all with it. And I was thinking to myself, if this is the future of what I'm going to do, if this is the base of the future of what I want to do, and I was in biomedical engineering at the time, which is an offshoot of mechanical engineering. And that was like the base class. Then I thought to myself, I don't want to do this. Like, this would be horrible. I'd be miserable doing this all day. And that's when I decided, just out of nowhere, I was like, I've had enough. I was in the library at one point doing this homework for this class. And I just couldn't take it anymore. And I told myself, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I called my parents. I said, I'm dropping all my classes in engineering. And the next day I went to the office and I dropped all my classes for that quarter. And because I just couldn't take it anymore. I wanted to do something different. And yeah.
So what did you, but you didn't drop out of college though? What did you do?
No. So I didn't actually drop out. And at that point, I knew I didn't want to do engineering, but the only thing that I really would want to do at that point would have been business, because I was doing your course, your online marketing, and that fell into the business side of things. And I was also really interested in starting my own agency or just having my own clients. That had really appealed to me. And so I just thought business would be the next thing, best thing that I would want. And so that's what I wanted to do, was business. But then again, I was kind of like, well, this course would get me a job, but the thing was, like, I had a lot of tension with my parents about this, and they were saying, we know you don't want to do engineering, that's totally fine, but you have to finish this degree. Like, if you don't finish, like, basically we will disown you. Like, that's basically what it was. And
that's what we're going to talk about that in an entirely different video, because like that is something a lot of people experience. So I don't know if your parents are being exaggerating and they were like, just saying we're going to disown. I mean, I don't think they would literally disown.
Well, they didn't say that, no, but that's what it felt like. It was like, if you don't finish this, like, we're not going to support you in a lot of ways.
What you
Right.
told me when we spoke before was they actually, so it's like there's I feel like it's emotional extortion and financial extortion is what parents do to kids with college. They've got you you're completely dependent on them because you spent the last 18 years of your life. You started out in diapers, then you're in, middle school, and then you're in high school learning nonsense. You never learned how to make money, basically. So you're completely at their mercy financially. So basically, didn't they say to you, like, if you drop out of college, we're cutting you off financially?
Yes, that was the threat. Yeah.
Right.
That they wouldn't support me financially. Yeah.
Right. So I'm sure a lot of you guys can identify with this. We're going to get more into it in another video. It's like, this is like what bothers me because I'm like, this is not, again, I would say it's every parent's prerogative to say, hey, kid, you need to get out of the house when you're 18 and be a grown up. But to make somebody stay in school or in some cases, I don't know if this was the case. Were you paying for school or were they paying for it?
They were. So
okay.
Again, there was no way I could pay for it without going thousands of dollars in debt for
right.
myself.
So, and some parents will make the student take out a loan, which is like crazy. But either way, you really didn't want it. You knew that you were wasting your time in college, but you did it anyway because you didn't really have, but you felt like a choice. You could have dropped out and you could have gotten a job and it would have been much harder. But I understand why you did what you did. But anyway, so now you're in a situation like a lot of people, you're majoring in business. We'll talk about whether or not that was valuable, but you're actually getting experience in the course. So walk us through how you transitioned from these your first SEO internship into your current situation and what it was like doing that while you were also in college.
Yeah, sure. So after I dropped out of engineering and did business, the classes became a lot easier. I had a lot more time on my hands, and that allowed me to kind of work more on your course. And in December or November of 2019, which was my third year, the beginning of my third year, I wanted to find another job because the internship only lasted for about 5 months, and that was my freshman year. And so I was looking for something else. And I applied to a bunch of easy applies on LinkedIn and on AngelList until I got someone to interview me on AngelList for a e-commerce agency. And we had an interview and he take me on, and I started working for him at the time it was at 13, but he quickly bumped me up to 15 and then $20 an hour later. And that I got a lot of experience there with Photoshop, as well as looking at Google Ads accounts where he was spending thousands of dollars per month on his clients, and along with ranking, SEO, terms on clients' websites, how to make a website that's SEO friendly, all this kind of stuff. I was learning at that part-time job, and I was doing that about 10 hours a week. And so that I did that basically all through my third year and almost till the end of my almost to the beginning of my fifth year, because I was behind. Usually business majors graduate in 4 years. But because I switched so late, I had to stay for 4 and a quarter, so an extra quarter. And I did that job until, for about almost 2 years while I was in college.
And so guys, and I know some of you asked this question, like, can I get a part-time job? And you can, there are part-time. I don't focus on that. I don't usually interview people who have part-time, and the majority of jobs, it's 260,000 jobs on LinkedIn in the US, 4 or 5, 600,000 in the world. Most of them are full-time, but there are part-time jobs. And again, I always encourage people to get your own clients. So this is great. So you're in college, you're living at home, your parents are paying for school, and you're making $20 an hour part-time, doing something you enjoy. And that, again, guys, that's much more than most college. If college students are getting part-time jobs, back before COVID, what are you working at Abercrombie and Fitch, or they're working as a cashier or doing some other menial stuff. They're not doing like a highly skilled job that's building their resume and, putting them in a position to get a better job. So, this is great. So you're in college. Obviously, you can't get a full-time job because you have your school commitment. We'll get into what the value of that was later. But so now you're graduating, or now it's towards your senior, you're nearing the end of college and you're looking towards the future. How did you get into your current situation with, where you're copywriting? Were you initially looking for SEO or PPC jobs that were full-time? Did you get interviews? Tell us about that whole thing.
Yeah, sure. So towards the end of my fourth year, I started looking for different jobs that would put me above the one I currently had. So the one with the agency. So again, I put that experience on my resume and I started applying to these full-time roles, not because I would actually take it, but just to see what I could do and what my resume would produce for me. And so I got multiple interviews with multiple companies, small and sometimes even bigger companies. And one of them, I mean, they were telling me, I was on the recruiter or the phone with the recruiter. They were telling me, this position, 50 to 60K a year. Another company told me, $33 an hour. Another company after that told me, again, it's very similar stuff, right? So in the $50,000 to $60,000 range, right? So they were all around there, and I was getting interviews with these companies, and I almost got one of them. I was so close, and they were going to pay me $33 an hour, part-time, and then transition to full-time. I thought part-time because I could maybe do it because I was almost done with college, but I barely didn't get it. And I was like, damn, like that was really close. And yeah, so I did get interviews and they were all within that range, like you said, 50 to 60,000.
Right. And let me just ask you, so you were interviewing, but I mean, you were still in college. So were you going to take a full-time, but you're saying you could have done the part-time, but you were kind of just doing it for the experience and the practice. But if you had gotten a job offer for 50 or 60K, you wouldn't have been able to take it because you were still in school, right?
No, I wouldn't have been able to, but I was close. I was relatively close to graduating, but I wouldn't have taken it at that moment because I was still in school. There's no way I could have done it. But again, like all of these were remote. All of these were, remote. You didn't have to move anywhere really.
Right.
And it was, some of them you actually had to be at your computer at a certain time, but still like it was very favorable for me because it's like really great.
That's what it is. Yeah. And so, if you had continued, obviously I know if you had continued down that path, you would be a different interview. You would have been telling me about your $50,000, $60,000 a year job. But what happened that turned, what happened that, got you into your current situation?
Yeah. So I thought, I can't take a full-time job in digital marketing yet. I'm still at least 6 months out from actually graduating. And, I just thought I don't want to wait that long to actually start making some real money. And I just thought, what could I do that where I could work on my own schedule and where I could earn a relatively large amount of money. And I discovered copywriting, direct response copywriting. And I bought a course from another well-known guy on that. And I started getting gigs on Upwork. So at first I started, I got my first gig in April of 2021. And so that was still about, for 35 an hour. My first gig was 35. And then not like 3 months later, I got a gig for $45 an hour. And that was, only a few months later. And then after that, I got a couple gigs for 65 an hour and a few months after that. And then finally, where I am now, just last month, I got a longer term gig for $80 an hour. And so I basically went from not really, okay, I did copywriting in my other agency before, but I didn't really focus on that because digital marketing, yes, you have to kind of know copywriting. It's part of the skill set in a way, but I didn't really focus on that only. I didn't only focus on that. So I basically went from, not really doing that much copywriting in April 9 months ago to now doing $80 an hour on my own time in 9 months, which is kind of crazy to me to still think about that. But yeah,
That
that's
is
how it all
crazy,
went.
man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And, you know, I know that the foundation that you had from your experiences previous, you know, led to your I think that led to the speed of your success. You know,
Mhm.
you didn't just like, you know, say, oh, what's copywriting? Maybe I'll put together, like, you had obviously been around it and done it, and you've been around digital marketing, and, you know, and you had a knack for it, obviously, or you have a knack for it. So, you know, this is awesome, dude. So you're making like a full-time, I mean, you're essentially making 50,000 a year now working part-time, is right? Right.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm not going to make, I mean, right now, I'm probably going to make between 3,000-4,000 this month, but I'm easily going to get, what is that per month? Like 50,000 is like, what is that, like
4,000.
4,800 or something?
Yeah, it's about,
Yeah.
I mean, is it also a little different because you know, you're working part-time. That's the whole point. I mean, if you
Right. Well,
most
yeah.
thrilled to make 25,000 a year part-time,
Yeah.
you're working 15 to 20 hours a week and making basically a full-time salary, whether it's 48 or 45 or 50 or 60,000. But the other thing is, I mean,
Mhm.
you obviously, you have the ability to scale up from there. You can get another client, and that just adds, and that's fantastic. And you're clearly confident about it. So that's great. Now, do you have any interest? I'm just curious. Do you have any interest in, you know, getting an agency job of some kind and still doing copywriting on the side, or you just want to freelance? Do you feel comfortable just freelancing?
Yeah. I was thinking about that before, whether I should go back into digital marketing at this point. Um, and I thought, you know, I'm already having all this success with my copywriting now. And I think what I'm going to do now is just double down on it and just like keep going. And you know, digital marketing is its own skill that you can master, but copywriting is also another skill. And I want to learn both. And so right now I already have the momentum. So I'm just going to double down on copywriting and really learning that skill really in depth. And I do want to learn digital marketing though at some point, but as like a complementary skill to copywriting, which is what I really want to focus on right now. And
Well, just
yeah.
to clarify for people, you already know digital marketing, and digital marketing, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's like what you're saying, digital marketing is the whole field, which includes paid search engine optimization, analytics, copywriting. You're just specializing in copywriting, which
Right. Yeah.
is true. I mean, it is true. I mean, it's true. Somebody could be a really good copywriter and know nothing about PPC or SEO. They're just good at writing, you know. But you know, I think the way you're doing it is the smartest, because again, if you have that background knowledge of digital marketing, so you're not doing it in a vacuum. You know,
Mhm.
you understand how funnels work. You understand how ads, you know, are run. You understand how people's, you know, behave online, and that's informing what you're doing. But when you say you want to learn digital marketing, I mean, you already know it, but you mean you just want to, you would go further into it, into PPC and SEO, right?
Yeah. 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 I would go further into it, like really get, you know, specialized knowledge with it, like really get a lot of experience with different kinds of paid search campaigns. I I'd want to do that at some point, but I just feel like the momentum right now is on my copywriting, and
Yeah.
I want to keep that going.
Yeah. So
But they are very similar. Like they complement each other really well. And
absolutely. Yeah. And if somebody has like a writing knack, I would say, you know, content and copywriting, that's where the money is. Like if you're an English major, that's what I tell people. If you're an English major, it's like, you're not going to get a job at the liberal arts factory or the literature factory. And you're not going to get
no.
paid to write essays about motifs. But if you can do content writing, which is, by the way, that's a different thing. I mean, I should probably do a whole separate
Mhm.
video on that, because I'm like, dude, when I was growing, you know, when I was coming up, like content writing, still, it was like super cheap. Now it's very competitive to get quality content, because that's how businesses make money, by ranking on Google. And then copywriting, what you're doing, persuading people to get people's attention, that's also very valuable. And so if you're an English
Yeah.
major, or, you know, a good writer, that is definitely an avenue you can branch out into. Um, or again, you can have copywriting as part of your skill set as you're a Facebook ads manager or a PPC specialist. So there's a lot of tools in your tool belt now. What about, and just to make it more specific, without giving any trade secrets away, like what your clients you have, like what are they selling? Like what kind of stuff? And
Yeah, sure. So it really ranges, and I'll just tell you in general. So they sell online courses directly to the consumers, online courses. One of them is in the spirituality niche, and another one is a fintech company that has kind of like a product for traders, or an actual software. And that's another client I have.
Is that the one paying you $80?
Yeah, that's the one that's paying me $80.
Follow the money, guys. This is another thing. Like in general, let's say you have a choice of working with a client who's I don't know, selling essential oils, which is actually that's $1 billion industry. So I shouldn't use that as an example. But I'm trying to say, let's say you have a potential client that's a lawyer, a chiropractor, or I don't know, a pizza shop. Which two of those three do you think you're going to have more money to spend on ads? Think about that. So like when I hear fintech company, like, yeah, they're going to pay more, they're not that I'm sure if this, and again, spirituality courses also sell very well, but there's also, it's something to be aware of when you're looking for clients. But that's kind of cool, man. So yes, spirituality courses, fintech, opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah,
every business needs copywriting.
Yeah, every business needs that. Every business needs digital marketing too, obviously. And I've worked with other people too, consultants. I've just worked with a ton of different industries and different companies, and it's really cool. You really get to figure out what niche you want to explore more, and it's fun. It's fun to meet these people and explore the markets in those ways.
Yeah, man. And we're gonna do another video. Actually, I'm gonna record it now, but I'm gonna wrap this one up because we're gonna want to talk about the whole doing this during college. What you were studying in business. Why you're having this whole odyssey of a career transition, career growth that has nothing to do with what you're learning in school. We're gonna focus in on that, right? I mean,
yeah,
right. So, but I'm curious. I am curious. What did your parents think? Like, they want you to get the degree. Like, you're doing all this stuff on the side. Were they like impressed with it? Or did they not care? Were they like, tell us more about your grades. We don't care that you're making money.
Tell me about my what?
Were they like, what did they think of you doing this stuff?
Oh, what did they think of it? They were fine with it as long as, again, I was doing school and I was finishing that. Right.
It's so crazy, guys. So before I'm gonna hold myself back in my rants. Like, yeah, listen, you can do this silly money making stuff on the side, but you got to make sure you get that degree. That's the important thing. So anyway, man, but I think it's very inspiring for people. Again, it's, you took a kind of untraditional route, and, this is a good inspiration, especially if you're watching this and you're in college. There's so many different ways you can go with it. Can people reach out to you on LinkedIn if they have any questions?
Yeah, so you can reach out to my LinkedIn. I can give it to you. You can put it in the video as well.
Yeah, I'll put a link under it. Yeah, man, and I'm excited for you. I mean, now that you don't have to deal with school, you will just accelerate more and more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. Yeah, and I'm planning to reach to 10K a month in the next year or less. That's my goal.
That's it. I'm sure you'll get it. Cool, man. Well, thanks for talking to me. It was great talking with you. I'm excited for your success and that you stuck with it for so long, and yeah, we'll stay in touch, and we'll let you know. I'll reconnect with you in a year and we'll see where you're at.
Yeah, 100%, Zeth. Thank you.
All right, man. I'll see you.